All right, guys. Jeremy Marquez here with jmarqeting, power prospecting, training, and coaching program for cold calling for real estate agents, brokers, and assistants and teams. About to call one of my coaching clients, Michael and Pamela Spivey. That's a mother-daughter team. They're starting to really take some action in their business, doing lots of cold calls, and they're starting to get some traction. So let's give them a call and just see what's going on.
Hello?
Pamela,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good, 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 good. So,
Do we have Michael as well, or just you?
no, Michael, he's picking up the line. We're just on the same line because it's like it's just a landline,
Mm-hmm.
so we can both be on the line together. Michael? Yeah, can you hear? Oh,
Yep.
yeah, we can hear you.
Right on. Well, sorry about last week. I had some stuff going on with a friend. Unfortunately, she passed away, so I had to deal with that. Why don't you guys catch me up with what's been happening with you guys the last week and a half since we spoke?
Oh, gosh, is it a week and a half? Well, you want me to start, Michael? I can start. Okay. So pretty much just been running around to Oakland, mainly to go to the 1033 90th Ave. That's kind of the house you've been seeing. And then, yeah, honestly, as far as calls, personally, I haven't been good with the calls. My mom's done a little bit better, but as far as that update, there's really, not much there. Just kind of get straightforward with that. Um,
Let's tell me a little bit about the history about that listing that you're talking about. We'll take it one step at a time.
Okay, so the listing, she was a referral from the house that sold at 200 Iselton, and it was about 8 months back, and pretty much the referral was saying she's interested in selling. At the initial point, we met, she wasn't ready at that moment, and as time just followed up, went by the house, and then she's kind of at a point now where she needs to make a move and kind of make that decision. So that's how everything led up to this point.
Awesome. Okay. And so you guys had that listing on Isleton, and then you had a referral, and that's who this seller is, and she through your follow up and everything like that. Now she's ready to list. So where are you in the process? Have you guys got the signed agreement? Have you got the listing? What's
Yeah.
going on?
The listing sign, Michael did disclosures. He's posted, you'll see a listing. He did disclosures, which are yesterday. So what we're doing double dipping is that this is Michael taking his first listing on his own.
Great.
So I am there. So going forward after this listing, I'm there now because I got to kind of help him through
Mm-hmm.
or just be there. But the goal is we cannot both be gone. It's just like horrible. It's an hour there, a couple hours there. Then, we're gone for 4 or 5 hours, right? Just dead time.
Right.
So we got to we have to suck it up because so he can be on his own, like he did the disclosures on his own with the lady and with the seller lady, and he was there for inspection while I was on taking another call. So he's like doing his first training listing.
Mm-hmm.
But after this, like I said, we'll probably never be together on another listing again. He'll just kind of be on his own. He's been around it a lot, but this was his first hands-on.
How much are you guys listing it for?
We're gonna put it on at 4:20, between 4:20 and 4:30. We'll go live on Friday. About 4:20 or 4:30. It needs a lot of work on the husband. Yeah, it needs a lot of work.
What are your thoughts on how fast it will go? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm thinking very soon. Within 2 weeks. We're showing it like where our goal is to show it like on Saturday just for a couple hours because there's no lockbox. And so
Have
it's very yeah.
have you pulled have you pulled data on it to do just listed and coming soon calls around it?
Have I pulled data? I haven't done that. Actually, I'll back on that one. So I did do calls on that area right there, but the only thing I got out of it so far is a lady who wants to buy. So she's already talked to the lender. She's like, well, I don't want to sell right now, but I'm thinking of buying. Because she got the house from her grandmother who passed away, the house that she lives in, like around
I
close to
know.
buying?
I know you've made calls there about another listing, but this is a completely different call now that you have a new listing.
Oh no. So when this call was made, it was when this house was, even though it wasn't, it was because the listing got signed like last week,
Okay.
but then we had to go back again this week for the disclosures.
So what I'm asking is,
So
are
what?
you doing just listed calls around this new listing?
Yes, that's how I got that lady that I just told you
Awesome.
about.
Okay, I
Yeah,
was
yes,
confused.
yes. Sorry, because she was like, no, that's nice that that house just listed, but no, I'm not thinking of selling anytime soon, and blah blah. But I didn't think about buying. So like I said, she was serious, and she got to the point where the lender, she had a conversation with the lender, which is confirmed, and it's just a matter of her getting her paperwork uploaded. And that other guy, the one we told you about, the one who's thinking of selling, talked to him again, and he's like, you know what? I apologize, Pamela. I didn't give you the right email. Here's the right email. Send it to me. Give me a couple of days. And I did find out because I remember what you said. So I said, wait. Do you live here in the area? So I was trying to get an appointment, right? He goes,
Mm-hmm.
well, I live in Henryville, but my mom and my sister lives in my house. But they know that I'm selling. So we don't have to worry about that. So just send me the information again and give me a couple of days, and then we'll go forward from there. That was our last conversation.
This is the guy that was in Texas.
Correct. He's back. He came back. He goes, oh my God, he just got back. Yep. That's the guy in Texas.
Okay. Okay.
He's moving along. And since we've been with you, the other person, so the guy in Texas, the girl who the parent, the mother died, and the brothers and sisters trying to figure out what they're going to do. She's still pending. They're talking to the attorney. I gave her an attorney, so they're talking to an attorney.
Is that the one you were trying to figure out what's going on with the trust?
Exactly. So now they got the attorney involved, and she periodically is chatting with me. And the last conversation was just trying to get brother number 2 to step to the plate, and so it's just they having her issues, but she stayed in contact with me.
So let's talk about the listing. And reason I'm asking about it is to find out what you're doing around it with your geo leads. So what are you specifically doing?
Like, what is the verbiage being used?
No, like so. Is it? I'm inside your Red X right now. Do you have
Okay.
those? What folder are those leads in?
Oh, it's nice. The address of the property is 1033 90th Avenue.
So do you have a folder for it under your geo
It should be
leads?
a folder in there. Yeah, it should be a folder in there. It's just 1033 90th. Yes.
103390th. I see it. So
Yes.
you have
Yes.
493 leads in there. Good.
Yes.
And let's see. I mean, I can't really go through them all, but so you pulled these when you guys knew you were going to get the listing? Is that when you pulled these
The listing
500?
was taken. Yeah, the listing was taken at that point. Whenever you see it, that listing was already. It was a live listing, signed listing.
Okay. And so your calls have been more like coming soon calls. Why don't you run through act as if I'm the homeowner and you're just doing a little fake little call to me, and I just want to hear like what your call is right now on around that listing.
Okay. And I have a whole bunch of calls that I've saved too.
Okay,
So
we can get to that too.
okay, so hey, just like hi, this is Pamela from Spivey. Just call and let you know. And what I would tell them is that we just give you an update of what's going on in the neighborhood. We just sold 200 Eiffelton, 40,000 over asking, because it's close enough where they don't know what they don't know, right? And we just listed 1033 90th Avenue. And I was just calling to find out, so is there anyone that you know is interested in the area, or if there's anything we can help you with? Were you thinking of selling? That's my little spill.
Okay, and I guess I want you to call me. Don't tell me like to play by play. You just act like I'm somebody to answer the phone, and I'll be just ring hello, and then just pitch me like you'd be pitching a just listed call or coming soon call. Okay.
Okay.
So ring hello.
Okay. Hi, is this Jeremy?
Yes.
Hi, Jeremy. This is Pamela Spivey with EXP Realty. How are you today? I know you say don't say that.
I'm okay.
Kind of give it. Okay. Great. Hey, listen, just come give you an update from the neighborhood. We just sold 200 Eiffelton, excuse me, for over $40,000 over asking, and we just listed 9033 90th Avenue, which is about a block away from where you're at right now. And so it's just giving you an update of the neighborhood.
Okay, good. When you pulled these geo leads, what were the parameters that you pulled it? Did you pull like by in a neighborhood, a boundary, the street? What did you? How did you pull
I
it?
think Michael pulled up for me because of boundary. Because when I'm talking to them, I could tell because I know the street because they're on 90th, so everything I called was pretty close. It was down that street or 91st, 92nd. I could see it's like right there. So Michael must have did boundary because they're pretty close. That's what I think the marker was there too, like around the house. So he had said, and then yeah, just that area.
Okay,
You did boundary.
so that's good, Pamela. My only suggestion is forget about IELTS on these calls because it's too much
Okay.
information. It's too much information on the front.
Okay. Okay.
Because since these guys are more specific to 90th,
Okay.
it's just you don't want to give them. It's just too much for them to compute when you first call them.
Okay. Okay.
And so that way you can get to hey, it's Jeremy with EXP Realty. Just giving you a market update because we just listed or we're getting ready to list your neighbor's house over on 90th 1033. Do you guys know anybody looking to move to the neighborhood so you can choose your own neighbors, or is there anything that we can do to help you? You know, Basically exactly what you're saying. I just think that throwing. I know you're proud of Ileton, but I think it's just that's maybe that's for a different list, and that's just. And if you want to make Ileton calls, fine. But Ileton calls are going to be different than 90th calls. You want to be able to utilize the value of what you have, and not give them too much. It's just too much to compute initially. That's just my thought.
Okay.
So out of these 500, so you got that lady who wants to buy. Have you called all of these?
Not all of them, but
Yeah.
so this is my dilemma now. This is a concern I have. You'll see even maybe from the same calls. I'm finding people like another lady. She was an older lady, and she's like, you know what? I'm not moving now, baby, but I'm going to move in about in a year, right? And my thing is like, okay, well, is it okay if I, send you some information? So I'm finding a lot of people, if they're older, I can't email them. I have to send them something hard because they don't have email
Right.
addresses. So right now I'm working on trying to figure out some kind of document because everything I have is with our old company. I don't have any fresh hard copy stuff for EXP. So my dilemmas I'm running into is that making the contacts and people are like, hey, I want to get to know you better, and being able to send them something like you said, a note card is okay, but I prefer to send them something that's branded.
Okay. So
So
what about just putting together a CMA for them with your business card, and instead of putting it in the mail, just dropping it off or knocking on the door?
I didn't think about the CMA just doing that. If you see our book, the only reason I'm so stuck on our book that we have because it's amazing. It gives a little bio on who we are. It shows our team. It's just really, user friendly. It shows you like the things we're selling, what it's going to look like. It's a cute little book, but it's just a freaking Realty One Group book. Which, bear with me, I will find someone that can duplicate it. I'm working very diligently
Keep in mind,
to
you
find.
want to make it as much as possible about them and their property and the data, not so much about you, because in reality, that's not what's
Okay.
going to get them to work with you. You want to be, yes, you want to have some information about you,
Okay.
but they don't really care about that initially.
Okay. Okay.
So if you were to like one of those people that doesn't have an email, if you were to just to put together a quick CMA and
Okay.
either drop it in the mail, or what I would do because it's a little more aggressive is just go knock on the door or just leave it at the door and call them back and say you dropped something off or something like that. Um, do you have
I have
do you guys have Red open right now?
I don't have Michael. I have to open
Michael,
it
do you
because I
have it
don't have
open
my
and maybe you can show her later? Um,
for
yeah,
And we have you heard of RPR? We have this little document. You just pretty much put the address in,
yeah.
and it'll give a beautiful little document, which is not it's doable.
No,
That will work too. I just feel like for the older people, in my mind, I'm just thinking if it's an older person. I mean, it depends on who the person is. If it's an older person, I could see them just holding on to a little postcard that has their information, and when they get ready to sell, they call. I don't think they're really looking at data, so I think it really just, and I can identify what it is when I'm talking to the person. Did we send you our high note, right? We sent
well, let's
someone
Pamela.
email.
Let's take it one step at a time. This is too
Okay.
much. We need to keep it one subject at a time here. We're talking about one thing, and then we're talking about another thing. I want to make sure we cover everything, but I want to do it to where we're actually covering it, not bouncing around. Okay. Michael, let me know when you have Red X open. All right.
All right. Give me like 20 more seconds.
Come on, 20 seconds. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, go to the folder, the 103390th. Just click on that, and then it'll come up with the 493 leads that you guys had pulled on that. And what I'm going to show you, because while we were talking, I was looking. When you click on the filters tab, so now right now you're looking at the leads, but you click on the filters tab. Now you're looking at the filters. You see that?
No, I don't see filters.
Next to folders is filters.
Like the save filters.
So you're going to go to the saved filter, my folders. Actually, you're going to go to my folders 103390th. So that way you're looking at all the leads for that. And then if you scroll back up, there's folders and then filters tab. So you want to be on the filters tab.
Okay, the save filter. Oh, okay. I see.
Okay, and then when you're in, so now you're looking at basically all the filters for that folder for the 90th Ave. So the what I'm pointing out here is you see where it says new and in progress. There's 65 in progress and 408 still new. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means that Pamela, whoever's been working this folder, has made calls to 65 of them. 408 are still new. So my point here is when she goes back, or when you guys go back and call these geo leads, you can just click new and then call the ones that haven't been called yet, and it will separate them. And then so when you go back in there, Pamela, then you can just dial right. Then you can check all, and then just start dialing right here. And so the ones you call, because it says that you've called 65 or 65 are in progress, so you can just click the new, and then start a dial session right here and continue doing your. Because right now, you guys, this is huge. I mean, now the fact that you have a listing, you want to be able to utilize that and work around it. So, one of your big efforts you should be coming soon, just listed, open house, and then when this sells, calling this same list for just sold calls, because you're going to be able to get, if you do it right, a few listings just off of this list.
So the
And
only thing so after I'm in filters, how do I see the
new,
versus like how do I see?
new and in progress.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, so new. So if you click on the new, it will show all the new. If you click on the new and in progress, it will show new and in progress. But what I'm suggesting is that when you go back in, when you go to work it, you just click the news, and then that way you're only calling the ones that you haven't called before. So that way okay, I have 408 left. I don't need to pull any more leads until I've gone through that. And so. Coming soon. Are you guys going to do an open house for that listing?
The goal is Saturday. If the seller's gonna confirm she'll be available to let us have access to the house.
When it will be active?
It'll be active Friday.
Okay, so you're hoping to do it. So right now, you should really focus a couple hours a day up until Saturday doing open house calls. Coming soon, open house calls, inviting every single neighbor over to that open house. So your open houses are not only to get this property sold and hopefully get the buyer too, but you're also trying to your main goal is to create relationships with these people to see if they're ready to list. That's the main goal here.
So I have a question because of COVID. When we say open house, it's not literally open house. The person has to make an appointment and they have to bring a peach sheet. So, so you're still saying we would still call the listing people. I mean, the list and say, hey, we're having an open house, and we'd have to explain to them at that point. They can't just pop in. They have to fill out the form. I guess they can fill it out right before they come in. Not a problem.
Yeah,
I'll tell them. We would tell them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just hey, we're listing your neighbor's house right over on blah 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 street. We're having an open house Saturday at 10 a.m. Love for you to come by to see how we market our listings. By the way, is there anything that we can do to help you? And if they say no, we're not selling. Well, do you know anybody that's looking to move to the neighborhood? And either way, we'd still like you to come by and see how we handle our listings. And then give them an invite, send them an email, whatever you have to do with the peach sheet. Not everybody's going to come, but if you can blow that open house up, I mean, if you call all 500 of these, and if you can just get let's say 10% to come in, that's fine. And even if people don't come to the open house, that's not really the big reason anyways. The big reason why you're calling these people is to create a relationship for when they're ready to list.
Yeah.
That's if
And this house is not cute though. This house is like a fixer-upper, so it's not, it's like not the kind of way we really want to represent ourselves as far as staging and all that stuff. But
so.
we can invite them.
Then when you sell it for top dollar, it's going to look like you guys did a great job.
Okay.
You know, and now you can keep this stuff in mind. For this should be for all of your listings. Whenever you get a listing, you do those coming soon calls, just listed calls, then just sold calls. And the key thing is, what I want to point out is because you guys are starting to get a little bit busy, but you're just getting started, and that's not the time to slow up on your calling, because your calling is what's going to be creating your business. And if you slow down on it, then you're going to be like, oh wow, we don't have anything to do now because we stopped calling during the time of just getting a little busy.
That makes sense.
And it happens.
I have a question.
But if you just got to make sure you continue to do it, because you're not. It's always be building, always be closing. But when you're closing all the time, you have to be building and filling that pipeline up when you're emptying it out. Same thing on continue to do that. What's your question?
Well, two questions. Okay, so I don't want to be jumbled. Question number one is, I understand the most important thing is the for sale by owners expired. I try to. You send me a lot of links.
Do you understand why they are?
No, I do, and I want to desperately know how to do them properly. So when I click into yours that you're doing live, it's hard to stay in because we're lucky if we get a call or two. When you're dialing.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead time.
And so I just really, and one time when I want to take just you saying you're for sale by owner still, but when we talked last time, we just did it really fast, and I didn't have it taped, and so I was trying to go listen to you when you were talking, because you're very, skilled and you can do it really good. That's my only concern, is I just don't feel I have that oomph. I don't even have enough oomph to practice. I don't feel comfortable practicing on someone. I want to at least have half the process pretty down and know what the heck I'm going to say. And I just don't feel confident. Even though I have the little for sale by owner script, I don't feel like I can't. It doesn't have an expired script right in front of me, but it just doesn't feel right.
Okay, we can practice we can practice this stuff, but but the only way that you're gonna get better is by screwing up, by getting in there and doing it, by getting people to say I'm not interested in hanging up on you, and then you continue to get better. Yes, we can practice it now. I can send you actual call recordings of me making calls and setting an appointment. That's no problem. But at the end of the day, the way I've gotten to where I am on the phone, and any other person that's it sounds like they're really good, is by just doing it over and over again. And I understand you have that that fear. I hear you, but that's what I'm here for, to help you work through that. So, is that both parts of your question on that? Because if you want, we can talk. We can start practice. We can practice a FSBO script now.
I think that if you go to my saved calls, every time when I hang with someone, I label it.
Okay.
So I may have one in there. I think I have one in there. It was a for sale by owner lady that was like, I'm not trying to sell my house, so I'm not using another agent. And you can hear what I said.
Okay,
and
let's take a look.
I put for sale by owner. Yeah, because you can read down the thing. I try to label them.
Well, it looks like your last call that was recorded was back on the 4th.
Do you see that says for sale by owner? Like, because you can scan through it, you can see. I saw one list. You could just see.
Does not need a realtor. That one? That's on the 27th. That was almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it says does not need a realtor. And I said nothing about for sale by owner. There was one specific one that was like, okay, I would like to kind of look at this one, because she was like, I don't need to sell. She was a for sale by owner for sure, because she said, I don't need a realtor. Yeah, does not. Maybe that's her. Click that one. Maybe that's. We'll see.
She was in Stockton,
Yes.
Bristol Avenue.
Yes.
Okay, let's work on this one.
Hi, is this the owner of 1400 Bristol Avenue?
Yes, it is.
Hey, a quick question. I see your house available for sale.
Is this the right one?
I believe so.
No, I am a realtor, but I don't see bedroom, bath, or pricing.
It's on there. It's It's on there, right? Where did you see it?
Well, when I looked on Redfin, and it says it shows off market.
Yeah, I'm telling you by owner.
Okay. So what is the bedroom, bathrooms? Because I don't. When you say it's on there, I don't know where to look.
How did you know about this then? How did you see
So
it?
I just had a list that just, hey, I have a list that says, hey, these people are for sale by owner. So the first thing I do is go look and see if I can see it, like on the just general open market. Because when I search for my clients, they're like, hey,
Do you have your pitch in front of you when you're calling?
Yeah, because it's all off. I know it's off because I just feel like I just have to flow because it's a horrible flow.
Well, it's like you're not even going by your pitch, and when you don't know it, that's the time you want to stick word for word to your script. You know, because when you're calling, when you're calling in Red X, I mean, it's a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. The lead shows you, if you're looking at it, and it just seems like when you're representing yourself as a realtor, you're not being very informed in the beginning. And that's just my first thought. If I was that seller, I probably would. I may think that you're not even a realtor. I don't know.
Can you tell me what's available out there? And, if it's something that I can't fill in the MLS, so now I have to do all the legwork to figure out, a little bit more about your house. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, it's 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It's single family. He has a tenant, and he sells it with a tenant. He's a good paying tenant. It's month to month. So if you need to occupy it, then you need to give him two months notice because of COVID. Right now, minimum is 2 months.
Right. And what's the asking price?
$299,888.
$299,000. Okay. And just out of curiosity, if you'd like, if you give me your email, I can send you some other tips that you might want to have for your house because you're not using a realtor. I don't know if a realtor friend has given you some tips, but I can definitely, send you something that can give you some stuff, just make it a little bit more aggressive since you're doing it on your own.
Like what? What do you have?
Well, for example, when someone wants to view the property, what is your protocol? Like, how do you show the property being a tenant occupied? What is the process?
Unfortunately, right now it's tenant occupied, so you have to, I'm looking for only showing it to a serious buyer. So basically, you have to show me your finances, and your proof, everything before I can.
Okay. So a couple of things, and this is just as a courtesy to you, like if somebody wants to see it, I don't know, do you have a virtual tour of the home? So you don't have to have people walking in, they could do their first, tour by seeing visually what it looks like on the inside?
Yeah, I'm trying to get that set up.
Okay, so that's very important to have that virtual tour. And then also, typically, if someone does go in the house, there's a document that anybody that's coming in the house has to sign stating, or you should have a protection for you, that they're stating they understand, it's COVID, and, when they go in, what the, precautions that should be taken. Someone needs to make sure that they're going in with the mask. You just can't assume if you're not going to be there and you just let them go in with the tenant. So it's just little things that, that I personally, being that you're doing it off of the owner, that you could do that's just an example of what I mean, of things that you should do to protect yourself, and your tenant, and, that virtual.
Yeah. Thank you very much, but I'm not looking for a listing agent. If you have a buyer.
I don't want to be a listing agent. No, my goal is not to be your listing agent. My goal is not to be a listing agent. I mean, I'm clear you don't want a listing agent because you're for sale by owner. My goal is to help you with any suggestion or ideas to help you be a more successful for sale by owner. And then you might say, well, what's in it for you? I mean, my goal is to pick up the buyer, and or if at a certain amount of time you're not successful selling the home, at that point, I would hope that if you're going to look out, you'll say, well, Pamela helped you with all this stuff. Let me just check her out because she did take the time to help me, as not as my listing agent, but just someone, out there looking to make sure in my best interest as a for sale by owner. So I try to be a little different than your average person, not just calling you trying to list your home, but trying to give you.
What script are you using for sale by owners, Pamela?
I have like a zillion different ones. So, like the one that I have like in front of me is about, it's saying, hey, I'm doing a survey of the houses in the area. That's how it starts.
Where did you get that script?
Let's see, this is Mike Ferry.
Okay. Did you even stick to the script?
No. Because it's horrible what I said or how I said it.
Well, you're telling her that you're not trying to list, but that's why you're calling. I mean, that's just kind of like BSing her. And then you're saying one thing, and then the questions you're asking are trying to get a different result. Like, sounds like the lady may not be that smart, but a smart seller would have probably already hung up on you. I mean, it just seems like you're saying one thing, but your motive is another thing. My suggestion is that you need to find one script and master that before you bounce around from all these different scripts. And it seems like you're trying to talk her out of, the whole COVID thing. Like, that's just too much. You got to keep it really simple with these for sale by owners. Like, let me just run through a for sale by owner script with you, okay?
Okay.
Let me just run through a script with you and just be a seller. And I'm just going to make it really simple. And you can let me know how it sounds, okay? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Pamela?
Yes.
This is Jeremy with eXp Realty, calling about your house that you're selling, for sale by owner. I was curious if you're working with buyer's agents, if they brought you a fully qualified buyer.
Yes, I will.
Great. I'm scheduling time to preview all of the homes to hit the market this week, for sale by owner and listed in that area. Before I schedule time to see yours, I just had a few quick questions about the home that I couldn't find anywhere. How old is the furnace?
I have no idea how old the furnace is.
Roof, windows, when's the last time you replaced those?
Since I've lived here, but never replaced them.
Okay, so you do live there and it's not vacant?
Correct.
Okay. When you do get this sold, what are the plans?
I'm planning on moving out of state.
Okay. Where are you headed to?
I'm going to move to Kansas City.
Do you need to sell this home first?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is stop by one day this week, take a quick look at the home before we get to the work. Are you usually home in the afternoons or the evenings?
Evenings.
Okay. How about we stop by Thursday at 6 or at 8? Which is best for you?
So, and what are you going to stop by to do when you do stop by?
We're going to come by and look at the property and talk to you exactly about how we work, and so we can talk to you about our strategy of getting this property sold and get you out of state like you plan to do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So at Thursday at 6 or at 8?
6.
6 o'clock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot you a quick resume by email, and then I'll follow up Thursday morning to make sure that still works. Is that fair enough?
That's fair enough, yeah.
Okay. So there's different scripts you can use, Pamela, but it doesn't really matter what script you're using. The whole idea is to keep it as simple as possible and just ask a few quick questions about the property. You want to find out, the main thing is you want to find out if they're living there or if it's vacant. Then you want to find the motivation, what their plan is after they sell the property. So then now you know they're moving out of state. You have that information. A lot of times the biggest objection you're going to hear from a for sale by owner seller is going to be, we don't want to work with a realtor. And why don't they want to work with a realtor? Because they don't want to pay a commission. Great. That's a common objection. We all know that. And then we know that going in. So that's fine. We don't want to work with a realtor because we don't want to pay a commission. Has anybody taken the time to talk to you about how we could sell your home for more than what you're asking so that way it doesn't affect your bottom line? No? Okay. Well, that's when I come by on Thursday at 6, I'm going to go over step by step of how our strategy will get your property sold and still net you the same amount. And then, okay, fine. Well, and the facts are, Pamela, that 90% of for sale by owner sellers, they usually end up listing with a realtor. And the folks that don't list with a realtor and they get it sold, they usually lose less on bringing the pricing down, and when they sell it on their own than they would pay in the commission anyways. And I'm not asking you to make any decisions right now. I'm just asking you to look at different options. So I'll see you Thursday at 6, and if things make sense, we can get started. Something like that. So you're assuming it. You're controlling the conversation, and you kind of have a direction, and you kind of are really you know where you want to go with this call. Because yeah, okay, if you bring a buyer, great, but that's not why you're making these calls. You're making these calls to get listings, and if you beat around the bush and let them kind of intimidate you, it's just not going to work. You just got to be very straightforward and to the point, and you're not going to get everybody. Most of them are going to hang up, say you're not interested, but maybe 1 out of 10 that you talk to. And that just depends how many dials you're doing. They're going to listen to you. They're going to meet with you, and the more times you meet with people, the more opportunities you're going to have to list property. But what my suggestion is with your script is look at one of the three the Listing Academy scripts I sent you, that packet, and there's three FSBO scripts in there. Nothing against Mike Ferry, but it's kind of old school, and I don't even think that let's just leave it at that. It's kind of old school. I personally don't use those scripts. I use and when I use a script, it's just something that's in front of me. It's a talking point. It has maybe like a list of questions, because the key thing is just having questions. You want to be armed with questions to get them to talk. You want to find out why they're selling. You want to find out what the motivation is. You want to find out if they have a lot of times I'm finding out. I open with, okay, are you open to working with a buyer's agent if they brought you a buyer? You're not saying I have a buyer. All you're doing is asking them is if they open to working with an agent if they had a buyer. Basically means that are you willing to pay a commission to a buyer? That's what you're trying to find out, to see if they're willing to even work with realtors, just to kind of soften them up a little bit. And then from there, your next goal is to say, basically, Pamela, if you can't get it sold on your own for the price that you need in a couple of weeks or a month or a few months, are you considering listing at some point? Well, yeah, maybe we might list at some point. Okay, well, if it comes down to that, Pamela, do you have a realtor that you would already work with? So you always want to ask that too, because you don't want to waste your time on somebody who already has somebody in place. I don't spend a lot of time trying to get people to talk people out of using somebody that they already have in mind, because there's so many fish in the sea. I just keep on moving on to the next. Because if somebody has somebody they're going to work with already, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to try to get them to talk them out of that. And I don't really downplay or talk crap about other realtors, even if it's their sister or cousin. Even though we know it's probably not best to do business with family, people do that. That's just how it is sometimes. But the key thing is with for sale by owners is you want to find out why they're selling. They're downsizing. They're moving out of state for family, for work, whatever. And the key people with for sale by owners is finding people that are motivated, not people that just have it on the market to see if somebody will bite. Because there's a lot of sellers right now in this market that just have it on the market to see if they can get a price that doesn't even make sense. The price points are way overpriced, and they just throwing it online, kind of like it sounded like that lady did, to see if anybody would bite on it. And that's the fact is, it's your job to kind of figure out which ones are motivated, which ones aren't, and not spend too much time on the ones that aren't motivated. Because getting a listing is one thing, but then getting a listing and actually closing it is another. You don't want to be stuck with a seller that's not motivated with a price point that just doesn't make any sense. And we don't have to even listen to the rest of that call, but it sounds like she just threw it online to see if she can get a buyer to buy it at the price that she wants. Tenant occupied properties, they're kind of hard to sell. Wouldn't you agree?
She don't want them to know. As we talk a little further, she don't want the tenants to know. Like, well, they're going to know eventually. Yeah, she don't want them to know.
She didn't want them to know. Yeah, so see, it's going to be hard to sell that type of property, right? So that's somebody you don't really want to waste too much time on. Yeah, I work with some realtors that sell property that are tenant occupied, but for the most part, that's somebody you're just nurturing until that tenant moves out, because it's hard to show the property. It's just hard. It's difficult, and for the landlord not to let their tenant know that they're selling, that's kind of shady. And for me, that tells me a lot about a person, and I don't really want to do business with people like that, anyways. But at the end of the day, that's your call. What I'm getting at is here, you need to find the motivation. You got to find out why they're selling, and then you got to determine if they're even a motivated seller or not. The for sale by owners are people who, the ones you want are people that are moving for sure, or they're downsizing and they need to sell this property to be able to get there. And then, if it's a brand new for sale by owner, they may not be ready yet, but your whole goal in the very beginning is just to create a relationship. Get a face-to-face appointment. Not necessarily always to sit down and talk about listing the property. That might happen. But just going by, previewing the property, bringing them some information, which you talked about a little bit, and then you keep in contact with them every week or so, or every 2 weeks, see how things are going. And then 2 weeks, a month and a half, 2 months goes by, and then at that point, they're ready to list, and you guys already have a relationship. So then you have a good opportunity to get that listing, or you may have brought them a buyer and got the transaction that way. But when you're calling these for sale by owners, the goal is to get face to face with motivated sellers, and then just nurture it. Sometimes you're going to get the listing right away. Sometimes you'll get it after a few weeks. Sometimes they'll list with somebody else, or sometimes they'll sell it. It's a numbers game. So that's for sale by owners. And the reasons why we do for sale by owners and expireds as our top priority is because these people have already said, I want to sell my house for one reason or another. Either they listed with an agent, and the past agent couldn't get the job done, and now if they still need to sell, now they're ready to hire somebody else. So that's when you come in with a new strategy to sell the property. For sale by owners, they want to sell the property, they just don't want to pay a commission. And so these people are motivated compared to like a just listed or a open house call. It's more of a long game, cold call approach, where you're nurturing it, and you're keeping in contact, like the lady you guys just got now, for 8 months until they're ready to list. Compared to the for sale by owners and the expireds, it's going to be more deals right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and if you look on our particular list, if you pull up expireds, another dilemma I've been running into is that right before calling, I look to see, and they're like, it says listed on certain dates. So I am assuming they're already listed. So I just have like a dead list because people have already listed. The expires have already listed.
So it's saying the day that it listed, and it says the day it expired. That's what it says in there. So it says it was listed on this day. So it's telling you what day they listed it initially, and then it tells you the day it came off the market. That's what it's showing you there.
Okay, because I'm looking at it thinking if it says 11/2, that's the day they relisted.
No, that's the day it expired. So like, let's pull one up right now. So just like expired listings are going to give you 2 dates. It's going to give you the date that they listed it initially, and then the day it expired. So let me pull. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
It does, but it looks like the second date is the date. To me, it looks like the second date is the date that they relisted, because if it's the third that I'm calling and it shows 11/2 relisted, but it listed originally 10/29, so it expired 11/2. Okay, so it makes sense then. Okay, so that's the expired date. So I'm reading.
Yeah, because usually, so you're gonna have a date. So let me find one here. Ronald Tongue, Mr. Tongue. All right.
Remember, Michael, we were looking at that. And
Looking at it, it shows like the expired date or the lead date.
So
the list date.
The list date, like as an example, I'm looking at one, Ronald Tongue, listed on September 1st, days on the market 49, expired date November 1st. So that's telling you that they listed it on September 1st. It was on the market 49 days, and then it came off of the market on the 1st.
So we only can see it once we're clicked into the actual contact. Like, because when we're talking about it, we're describing it from the screen right before you're reading it.
Well, when you have the dialer going, you have this up when you're like me. Like I'll be honest, like I don't even see that when I'm dialing. I use a triple line dialer, so I have less to look at when it's ringing. Like I have three calls going at the same time, and there's three phones ringing, and when somebody answers, boom, it goes bing, and then this info pops up. But I don't even look at this stuff because this stuff to me is irrelevant. I'm in my mind, I know that it was expired, and so I'm going with my expired script. And then when I get to start talking to them, then I'm looking at the stuff and using that in my call. But at the beginning of the call, none of that matters. All that matters is that you're calling expired listings, and you don't need personal data when you're calling them. Let me just run through an expired listing script with you. Blah blah blah. Where's it at?
I have yours. I have yours in front of me. Your expired that you sent to me on October 20th.
Okay.
Which is, hi, this is Jeremy. I'm a local realtor. I'm calling about the home for sale on blah blah blah. Did you accept an offer, or is this home still available for sale by chance? And they're gonna say expired. Oh, I'm surprised. Homes like yours typically sell quickly with multiple offers. What happened? So so the expired one, I'm good to go. I'm gonna go find the for sale by one owner one that you have, opposed to the one I was using from Mike Ferry.
But here's the thing, like any of these scripts work. It's just a matter of learning them and not bouncing around from different scripts and understanding the type of lead that you're calling and the mindset of them. And then the key thing with any of these is finding that motivation and then finding out if they still want to sell. And then from there, finding out if they have a realtor they're going to work with. And then setting up that appointment. Like I set an appointment earlier for my clients in Tampa, and it's probably going to be a listing. But she started off telling me that it was a for sale by owner, and she started off telling me that she's probably not that she's not going to list. That was like the first few things that she said. But I just continued talking to her, and then towards the end of the call, I was gonna go ahead and just kind of nurture it and follow up in a couple of weeks to see if she had sold it, because I asked her, well, do you plan to sell at some point if you can't get the price that you want in a certain period of time? She's like, yeah, possibly. Okay, well, and then she said, I'm showing it to a few people because they have interested buyers. I'm like, well, would you be open to showing it to us if we didn't have a buyer yet, just to preview the property? She's like, yeah, we can do that. And so I just threw it out there, and so my client, who would be you guys, is going in there as a quote-unquote preview. But the whole idea with these for sale by owners and even expireds is just getting face-to-face, because once you get face-to-face, it's a whole different ball game. The phone call is kind of out the window now. Now it's your face-to-face. It's more personable. And just you're looking at, you're previewing the property, you're sitting down, you're going over the numbers, and it's a completely different situation. And you can present everything. You have the listing agreement just in case. And if not, if it doesn't, you don't walk away with the listing, that's fine. You continue to talk to them. You continue to nurture it, once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever it may be. And the more of those you have, the more listings you're going to get. That's the idea here. Michael, how are your calls going over with the chime?
Honestly, I haven't really made much calls, but from the ones that I have, everything's been fine. Ever since that one lady, that was the worst one, so nothing's been bad since then. But nothing from the call zone.
All right. Well, Pamela, Michael, any other questions specifically? What I want to do later this week, because we didn't have a call last week. I want to do a live call session with you guys. I want you guys we're going to do like a screen share, like either on Zoom or Hangouts. I haven't decided yet, where you guys are logged into RedX, and I'm just sitting, like it'd be like I'm sitting in your office, and you guys are making calls, and we pause and talk about it. You make a call, pause and talk about it. Make a call, pause and talk about it. What do you think?
Okay, that sounds fun. I mean, sounds.
No, it sounds fun. Yeah, for real.
I have another question before we hang up. Is Michael and I were talking. Because we have 5,000 leads, and we don't need all 5,000, but we get them just because of the little package we have. So we're trying to figure out who can we give them extra calls to, that so they just don't be like wasted calls.
I give leverage.
Well, you guys aren't dialing enough right now, so I would say that you probably do have. You should use everything you got. Like you guys aren't making nearly enough dials. honestly. And so that's why you think you have too many leads, but you're not even hitting the tip of the iceberg of what you need to be doing.
All right.
So I wouldn't think about like selling off these leads or having somebody else work these leads. Like you guys, I mean, you only have one listing. You're not super busy. You should be able to dedicate 2 to 4 hours a day on dialing, and then you can see, okay, how many extra leads do I have? But in reality, I would already have every month. I'd be pulling 5,000 leads. I'd have all sorts of lists here on the left hand side. I'd have geo leads for every listing in the office, or every listing. You can just go to your MLS and you're like, oh, look at that listing. I want to list property in that area. Let me pull 200 leads around it. Blah blah blah, and then just bounce around. I understand your thought. 5,000 is a lot, but I probably make 500 to 1,000 dials every single day per campaign. Right now, I have 2 clients that I call for, and yes, I have the triple line dialer, so I can dial more. But the reason I do that is because I know that I need lots of dials to be able to have a certain amount of conversations, to be able to have a certain amount of leads, then appointments, and then for them to be able to continue to get listings, to be able to keep me employed with them. And so it's a similar thing with you guys, especially with only having one listing right now. You're not busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. You just need to work better with your time management, and you just need to focus on being in here and dialing more. Because I don't have to tell you guys, you guys know how much you've been calling, and it's not enough. Would you agree?
I agree.
I agree.
But at the same time, it's your guys' business, and you're gonna get out what you put in, guys. You're gonna get some deals like this one here that you got off a referral. But this came from it. This is just coming to fruition. Whatever, however you say that word. This is just coming to be from 8 months ago. And so, what happens after you have this one? Then you have really, I mean, you might have one or two going. But see, the thing is, when you're dialing 2 to 4 hours a day, you're going to have a lead or two or an appointment every single day that you're going to have work to do. Then you're going to have appointments, and you're going to be able to. But if you're not dialing every day, you're going to get to a point where you don't have anything going on. You're going to be like, dang, what do we got? What are we doing?
Yeah. And do you think it's bad? We were thinking about call like tomorrow, for example. We have to drive to Oakland, which is a hot mess, right? So, do you think it's bad calling in the car? Because you call in the car.
Yeah.
What internet do you use?
I use my hotspot on my phone, but I've been doing this for 5 years. I know how to maneuver around, and like in the. I would suggest not doing what I do as far as dialing in the car. I would suggest. I would suggest dialing what I do as far as the number of dials I make, but I would suggest getting on the phone at 8 a.m. and dialing until as late as 8 p.m. like you legally can. Now, if you want to dial in the car, great. I mean, yeah, do that. But the whole idea, what I'm getting at, is you guys got to be dialing more. Because your competition is calling these same leads that you are, expireds and FISBOs, and they're getting listings from it. I guarantee they are. So, um, for your guys' sake, please just dial more, and then we'll have more to talk about, because right now we don't have a lot to talk about because we don't have, a bunch of stuff to go over because you really haven't been dialing too much.
I thought I had a lot of saved calls. When I did calls, I felt there was a lot. When I tell people, hey, I used a little spill about, are you going to be paying a buyer agent? Are you going to be paying, and then people, they say no and hang up with me. That was, like, for me, horrible to ask that question. They were like,
Great.
bye.
I'm happy to hang up on me. Great. On to the next. Don't let it affect me. On to the next. I need to be hung up on. I need to be cussed out. I need people to say not interested, because I'm not going to find the yeses unless I find those people. You have to go through the no's to get to the yeses.
Right.
And if you let the no's affect your mindset, you'll never find the yeses. If you stop your dial session because somebody said screw you and your feelings are hurt, you're not going to be able to continue on and continue dialing. Just pulling up the pulse report, for the month, and I know you work out of time as well, so I can't speak on that. But you've only made 156 calls for the entire month of November. That should be less than a day's worth of work. Come on, guys, you're better than that. Let's do. Let me know which day is going to be best, Thursday or Friday. We'll do a live call session. I'm gonna send you some actual not videos but recordings of me setting appointments, FISBOs and expires. You guys can listen to those. That will help, I'm sure. And then we can set up a time for later this week when we do that live session. I think that will help you guys a lot.
That and also the integration for top producer and Reddit.
Yes. So all we need to do, and I can show you where that is. And like if you go to, are you still in there, Michael?
I am.
Go to accounts under your top right where that little drop down is.
Yeah, I'm there.
Accounts, and then add an account. Then you go to top producer, and then I believe that's how you integrate it. And then we'll look into what actually gets integrated.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely move forward from here. So
Yeah, play with that, and then on our next call we'll look at it.
All right, cool. Perfect. Thank you.
Let me know some times that work for Thursday or Friday. You guys, the biggest thing you can take away from this call is that you just gotta dial more, and just focus on not a bunch of scripts, just one, and then just perfecting that, and knowing that objection is on your way to success because you have to go through the no's to get to the yeses. But good job on your listing. Utilize that. Do your calling around there. You still have over 400 leads just around that listing. You can just talk about that listing. Is there anything we can do to help you? Do you know anybody moving to the neighborhood? Invite them to the open house. It may seem like a lot, but it's not, as long as you manage your time properly.
Gotta just keep working on it. Well, I guess more so myself. I need to keep working on it.
You guys are fine. It's just a matter of like, okay, this is what I need to do, and then just doing it. It's just this stuff can all be turned around within a day or two, and you guys are doing fine. You just gotta do more. All right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. We'll talk about a time to connect this later this week, and we'll do that live call session. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks. Okay.
Later, guys.
Okay, bye.
All right. So that's a live coaching call with the Spivey team. Have a good day, guys.